हृदय बसहि हनुमान प्राण प्रवाह हो तुम श्वास श्वास हनुमान सो हम है जो हो तो हम है जो हो हृदय बसहि हनुमान हृदय बसहि हनुमान हृदय बसहि हनुमान प्राण प्रवाह हो तुम श्वास श्वास हनुमान सो हम है जो हो तो हम है जो हो हृदय बसहि हनुमान हृदय बसहि हनुमान हृदय बसहि हनुमान
Shri Matre Namaha, Pavanji.
Matre Namaha.
I'll just put my video on once I sit down.
No problem.
How are you today?
Very well, very well.
Good, good.
Today it looks like a UK day. We have Meron here also from UK.
Ah,
And
who's
Urvesh Bhai
Hello.
from UK.
Hello.
Namaste Urvesh Bhai.
Namaste Guruji, how are you?
Very good, very good.
Hello Marin. Hello Nivaji.
Hello, hello. Just coming. I'm looking for my glasses. I've lost my glasses. Found them.
I know we go blind without glasses, isn't it? We are at that juncture.
And I used to be an optometrist. Can you imagine?
So here we have
Maya Rani has been on this call since 1 hour.
I think she's by mistake here. Should I remove her?
No, let her be if she's there. If she has stayed for a long, then
she stayed for long, it seems.
yeah.
She is
Because
actually
when I logged in hour earlier, she was there already. I was like, wow.
And she is actually the mother of one of our Shrikula,
Yes.
Samir and Anjali, who live in
Yes.
who live in Dubai, and she is their mom. And maybe she just logged in. She must be doing whatever. However, let her. So here we are. So happy to introduce Miran here. She's here she stays off London, between London and Brighton. And rest of it, she will introduce herself.
Do you want me to do that now, Pam?
Why not?
Well, it's so lovely to be here, and yeah, I'm just thank you so much for inviting me. So I'm between Brighton and Worthing on the south coast. So I'm absolutely on the Downs. in a very old ancient village called Stenning. So yeah, it used to be part of the pilgrims way 1,000 years ago. So it's really beautiful. And it's so beautiful to be in Pavan's energy again after being absent. I've been absent for a few years, so it's wonderful. I feel very blessed.
Beautiful.
And lovely to
Fantastic.
meet you all, and thank you for welcoming me. Thank you.
Yes, and sometimes you could, even there locally, have a cup of coffee whenever you're passing by each other.
So where's everybody else?
Our local will be if you are crossing Scotland and if you are coming near Great. I live in Carlisle, so I live in Lake District. Yeah,
Oh, beautiful. Wow.
yeah.
That's so beautiful.
So
And
And I'm in London.
if you're going that way, yes.
well,
Yes.
I hope to. I want, yeah, I hope to this year. So, yes. And where are
And
you, Nivea? You're in London.
I'm in London,
Whereabouts?
Northwood in Middlesex,
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
on the Metropolitan line. But my brother's in Brighton today, actually. He's doing a viewing
wow.
of Brighton College for his son. Yes,
Oh,
I
yeah.
love Brighton. I absolutely
Yes.
adore Brighton. I love
I'm
the
about,
lanes.
the lanes are gorgeous, aren't they? Yeah, I'm
Yes.
about a 20-25 minute drive, depending on traffic, into Brighton. So I'll be going there
Okay.
tomorrow. So yeah.
Good
And
to
at
know.
least the sun's shining, even though it's a bit cloudy.
Yes.
But it's not raining, which is good.
Yes.
fantastic. Here we are. Let's begin by tuning in for a moment, just a minute or two, flowing into our breath and just feeling the presence of, in whichever name, Hanumanji, the mother, whichever name amidst us. Namaste again to each one of us. So here we are on our Saturday satsang. Just for Meron, she's the new one here. We have this every Saturday evening. Sometimes we are a few more, normally very few, because we have another parallel satsang going on in Hindi on Sundays. And earlier we had only one satsang, which was in English, and that used to happen only every Sundays. But that was for good 5 years or so. And then we turned it into a Hindi language satsang so that more people could benefit. And people who understand both the languages, they choose this or that. And those who love hanging out together, like Urvesh Pai, also Nivaji sometimes, also some of others who may join in, we join in on both days just to be together and say the same thing or hear or talk about the same thing twice over. End of the day, we just we understand we are all practitioners for some time. We do some practice or the other We have a fairly good understanding of where we are headed over a long period of time. We have been together for now 6 years, at least in this particular journey, fairly tuned in. And yet, every Sunday, Saturday, whenever this comes up, we look forward to it, and we come together and we share something between ourselves. So welcome again. We have been speaking about Sanatan Dharma, the so difficult to translate word Sanatan. Sanatan means eternal or timeless. It is better to say timeless. And Dharma, again, a very difficult word to translate. It gets wrongly translated as religion, but a better translation will be nature, or in the context of practice, way. So the timeless way, if we can say, the timeless path. That's Sanatan Dharma, which is generally translated as the Hindu religion. Hindu religion is what is Sanatan Dharma translated into English. And we have been sharing something about that last week. And the whole understanding of Sanatan Dharma was in form of a musical instrument, the sitar, that sits in the hand of the goddess of learning, Saraswati. She is worshipped as, not worshipped, or she was worshipped in ancient Greek as Sophia, same, almost the same. But the Saraswati, or when we say goddess, or when we use the word Saraswati, our import or our connotation is much deeper than Sophia. And she holds this musical instrument in form of which the whole of Sanatan Dharma we try to understand in the last Zoom call. I'll share that drawing with you, Meron, separately, so that you get just a little bit up to date with that. And you could also check out the video in the YouTube channel we have. There you can go into the live, and there the last one. But I'll get you there. So you'll just come up to date to that. For the rest, we again have to remind ourselves, because when we stay on a path for long, sometimes we lose focus. So here we are on a beautiful path of blossoming to our own highest selves. And blossoming for what? Ultimately, a flower blossoms and drops, or turns into a fruit. Either which ways, it is ultimately offered unto the existence. And the seed again remains, and the cycle continues in whichever form. In our blossoming to the highest, to our highest personhood, I take this word from Leo Buscaglia, highest personhood. In that, we have introduced ourselves, or we have been introduced to the understanding of Hanuman, the one with the jaw. Hanu means jaw. Hanuman means one with a jaw, but one with a broken jaw. That means one who is egoless, one who is an embodiment of surrender, and completely given unto divine service, selfless service for the universe. So he is our, to say the least, our hero, our guiding force. But at the depth, he happens, when we uncover him to be the very embodied God, or embodied Brahman himself, taking a form of a monkey. And monkey for various reasons. Well, so many stories around that. Someday we will again get into that. So that one, around that, there is a text called Hanuman Chalisa, and we have been through that. It's a poem, it's a hymn to Hanuman, and we have gone over it 4 or 5 times. So we have understood, we have recognized the presence of the Divine One. We have recognized our need to blossom to our fullest. We also recognize that this blossoming happens by the grace of God, by the grace of the divine, for the most part. Yet, a tiny part, a tiny human effort on our part is also necessary. And for that tiny little part, how to apply our effort, which way to arrange our path, which way to arrange our practices, we got ourselves introduced to one of the highest wisdom traditions within our Vedic tradition, that of the Sri Chakra, the Sri Vidya tradition. So we chose that path that is our sum and total of our guidance, sum and total of what guides us or how we guide ourselves on this journey. And there are some texts under that that we refer to. The essence of that we take and we go on, so on and so forth. And then comes closer down the Sri Chakra itself. We have seen it, gone over it, and we are going over it once again, just about started. And in that, the first thing that strikes us are the 5 important geometrical shapes that strike our eyes, that Sri Chakra, that geometric pattern, that mystic pattern, that sacred geometry of life, of wisdom. And those 5 shapes are the 5 standard geometrical shape: the square, the circle, upward triangle, downward triangle, and the dot. And these 5 represent the 5 elements. The square represents the earth, the circle represents the air, upward triangle, fire, downward triangle, water, and the dot, the space element. These are what strike us the most directly. We can look at it and we see it. And of course, the next logical step is, how do we tune in to these 5 elements that we are seeing? In the standard Sri Vidya traditions, the first step will be to take a Sri Chakra and start its worship, as in a ritual worship pattern, which we also do. And here, fortunately, today we have Nevaji and Urvesh Bhai both, and also then Priya and myself. We are all worshippers of the Sri Chakra at different levels of proficiency in that. And there are mantras that go with it. So that is an esoteric practice of that. But even a step before that is, how do we prepare ourselves to engage with this sacred geometry? And drop that sacred geometry part, the sacred 5 elements that constitute our very being, to introduce ourselves to that. And the question happens, why must we get introduced to ourselves? Where is the need for that? And it has been going in my mind for a long time. And today, for the last couple of times, I've been sharing it. And today again, I'm reiterating it, that we need to tune in to the bhava. Bhava means, for the time being, let's call it an emotion. Bhava is a state of being, more than feeling, a state of being, but a state of being in love. Now, this is too airy-fairy, a state of being in love. And to tune into that state, it's too airy-fairy straight away for anybody who is a rationally thinking person. Fortunately today, we have Nevaji Urveshbhai, also Priya here. She's from Mumbai. We are all very close and we understand this language. But if we are speaking in a bigger audience, to say that we need to tune into love is is really a airy-fairy statement. But it turns out that if we do not tune into love, we cannot tune into God either. We can, in a dry comprehension, understand it. We probably we can have a very dry, limited comprehension of what that highest reality is, some equations about it, some words about it. But there will be no feeling, no experiential, it won't turn into an experiential truth for ourselves, which we need for that blossoming. Why today we are not blossoming, or we still seek, or we still say that there is a huge room for blossoming, is that we are still not directly connected to the source. And that source is not dry, and it is just not information. That source is a state of being which is beyond words, and it's a state of bhava, it's a sentiment, it's a state of being beyond words. And it's, if we put into words, the most that English language will allow us is the word called love. That is why in translations in the King James Version of the Bible, we have this translation: God is love, love is God. This is the translation we get. And both can therefore be synonyms. It is difficult to comprehend or attune or understand what that large or that subtle entity called Ishvara or God is, but it is easier, closer home, to attune into the feeling of love. Now, most of us, for us here, it is not so difficult to comprehend what love is. Yet it escapes our experience, our constant experience, sustainable, constant experience of love. To be in that state of love, we miss it. How do we get it back? So, a couple of calls earlier, a couple of satsangs earlier, we came to a conclusion that tuning into gratitude is one beautiful gateway to touch that emotion of love. Deep, deep, deep gratitude for each and everything, even for being able to blink the eye, gratitude. And then suddenly we find our eyes getting moist. And that's all we need. We need moist eyes to progress in our practice, in our sadhana. Sadhana is intense practice. These are some words that you may have to pick up, Meron. Just you'll get familiar with it. Sadhana, yoga, these are some easy words. So our practice, sadhana without moist eyes is like trying to knead the wheat to make the bread without water. You can't. There will be no bread out of it. So we need to meet that wetness, that wateriness, that sapidity. Sapidity is the right word. That wetness, we need to tune into that element of wetness. So it turns out that you keep exploring and you come to a point, who do you love? What do you love? Well, you can love a human being, but human beings move here and there. You can love a pet, but that love of the pet also can be only localized to one entity like that. It turns out that it is very easy and immediately available entity whom you can love is yourself. Loving yourself, loving the body, loving the breath. But then who is this self? So, well, this self is at two levels. One is the self that I know myself like this. I am Pavan, this body, this man, this age, this body, this breath, etc. Whatever I can explore in this immediate context. this self, and then one which is beyond it, both. So there will be two self. One will be the relative self, very useful for getting ourselves around in this world. The self which is comprised of the body, mind, equipment, and the self which owns that, which inhabitates that. So these two self, one with a capital S, one with the small s. That's how the title of my book is, A Journey from Selfie to the Self. Selfie with small s, self with a capital S. So how do we love ourselves? So we need to understand what is our constituents and how each constituent need. Love means care. A synonym for love is care, straight away. So how do we care for ourselves? Unless until we understand every constituent and the need, distinct need of each of these constituents, we will not be able to actually care for ourselves, and therefore not be able to love ourselves, and therefore not be able to tune into ourselves. So self-care, self-love is one of the most important practices as an introduction and as a preparation to enter Sri Vidya. We have seen the context in the larger context, in the whole of Sri Vidya, the square, and to tune into that, to be able to enter the realm of Sri Chakra, the square. And that square is this immediately accessible physical body, the prana, etc. And then, so when we get to that, we encounter, and now everybody is familiar, but again, it's only to revise to ourselves. We encounter the five bodies, the five sheaths, so rather the five sheaths, which are arranged as three bodies. And when we go even deeper or subtler, or we are even through reflection or through the books, we arrive at the understanding of the fundamental five elements which we cannot escape. The five elements that comprise our physical reality, not only our physical reality, but they go up to our mental realities, the five elements. So these five elements also need to be attuned, because it is only by the grace and through gratitude towards these five elements that we will be allowed permission to transcend them, to be able to not disconnect, okay, also disconnect, but disconnect not in a bad way, but in a way of transcendence. We'll be able to transcend them. These elements will facilitate our blossoming, our opening up, contribute to that, facilitate that, and ultimately allow us to be to roll into liberation. The Mahamrityunjay mantra, Mrityor Mukshya Mahamritat, may I roll as a ripe fruit rolls away from the creeper. May I roll away from the five elements and the creeper of the five elements on which I have been blossoming and ripening into a fruit. Once I'm ripened, once the fruit of my karmas are ripened, may I roll away from that and be liberated. But may I never be separated from immortality, from eternity, from eternity, immortality, infinity, from the timeless, eternal existence that I am. So this is like a very quick overview of where we are headed. For everyone else, just revision. And today, last time you were, I was not able to participate so much. We were talking about the five elements, and Nivaji and Urvesh Bhai were engaging into finding out the qualities that they stand for. What are these 5 elements? Well, it is easy. Earth, um, earth, water, fire, air, sky. 5 elements. All right. But how do we tune in with them? So we'll tune in with them only by tuning in with their qualities. So what are their qualities that we can tune in with? And what are the practices that will make us even more attuned? What are the qualities that we have to absorb in ourselves? And what are the practices that will help us uh, engage and then stabilize in these 5 elements in a very harmonized manner? So that was being discussed. Today, I've made a summary of that, of the discussion, and put it together. I'll just share right now. For all of us, we already know it. It's all child's play. We'll look at the summary. The big thing that I realized was that in our meditation, when we sit in for our dhyana, if we just set aside our ritualistic protocol for a moment and just to a very human level connect with the 5 elements, a human dialogue in English, no mantra. We can use a mantra like Nivaji and Urvesh Bhai, you're familiar, and also myself. We are familiar with the mantra, so we can, build in a mantra in those dialoguing with these elements. But I thought that today, if we have the time and if you allow, then we could just for a little while, I could share how I dialogue with the 5 elements, and then you could change it or adapt it to yourself and make a dialogue with these 5 elements and have an inner practice, a beautiful, fluid, easy, enjoyable, loving practice. It's something like teaching, not teaching. I mean, yeah, really, I can even say it is like teaching someone how to pet a dog. I mean, come on, you don't. You just need to see. I do it like this. You can also do like that. You could also take the dog in your hands. You need to have that feeling, and have no fear that the dog will bite you, and just love the dog the way you would want to. Well, I put the dog in my lap and pet him. You may want to lie down with the dog and pet him on the carpet. It's up to us. There is no fixed fixed way or a protocol to do it. Yes, there is a subtle grammar to it. If we connect the grammar, if we connect the points, those subtle points, it will all go fast, and you will find yourself in a very good space, and quickly you will find there's a quick, you'll find yourself quickly into that space, and then you can go on with your um, rest of your sadhanas that way. I also personally feel that if we attune ourselves to the 5 elements, we shall be blessed by these 5 elements in a way that we shall be able to manifest what we wish to manifest more easily in our daily lives. We shall be blessed by those manifestations, so that our lives within the realm of 5 elements become easier, so that our journey towards transcendence becomes easier both ways. So much of introduction. I'll pause for a minute in case there is any arrows that you would want to shoot. Flower tipped arrows. So may I go ahead? Acha, Urvesh bhai.
No, nothing. I just worry that Meron would have a lot to catch up with, because I think she's looking quite
Yeah, but
surprised and taken back by what's going on over. It's way too much. But I have some notes, I have shared on the group, so I will share it again with those
share it with
practices and what it is, so all that kind of things. You can always access to
Thank you.
she's
those
herself.
together. So,
She's herself a seasoned traveler, Urvesh Bhai. She's
yeah,
authoring a book. She's done her own journey, and I did mention in her introduction, I owe my introduction to Swami Veda to her, and in her own connections in the background, she is connected to the tradition of Swami Rama in another thread. But after many years, we are again coming
meeting.
together. But it would really help to exchange notes and also take her notes for us.
Definitely.
Yes,
Yes,
and
thank you. I really appreciate that, Ravesh. I mean, and you're right, Pavan. I mean, there's, and I have an ongoing, I suppose, daily practice, and I at some point will share with you my journey since we last, and and the gurus who I have followed, and it's really nice to come back to Swami Ramas. So, and also, I completely got everything that you said, because it's what I'm doing on a daily basis myself, and really, and I understand why I'm here now as well, because I'm trying to take that real love of self to a completely new level, and I'm doing it daily. And if I may just share something that I am doing, is to say to myself every morning, how can I support you? And in that supporting of myself, I'm also loving myself, because if we love somebody, we want to support them. And I know for myself, I can support many people, but what was lacking was the support for me. So I've started to do that, and yeah. So thank you. So I just look forward to learning
Oh,
more
no,
and sharing, but learning more, getting back into the Hindi language again. I mean, it's all familiar to me, and it's sort of so good to hear it and feel it all over again. So yeah, it will take a bit of time, I know, but
but it's so
Kash, I would
beautiful
love
you
that.
shared, you beautifully shared about supporting yourself, because usually we forget about ourselves because we are helping or trying to help others so much, and that self-care goes out of window.
Mm.
And that's the beautiful part of it. And I think you're right in the way you need to affirm that thing with yourself every day, that how can I support you.
Yeah,
yes,
thank you.
Thank you for that insight. Yeah.
Okay.
yes, and in fact, that is what Urvesh Bhai, that is what we are trying to attempt to re-love ourselves. Even in our pujas, we tend to sometimes forget ourselves only. We are offering everything there, but and that is why you already know. I'm informing Miran this, that in our altars, the altars that I have set up in one or two or three homes, I have always recommended to have a big mirror. So you have an altar, but have a big mirror behind. So whoever it is, Ganeshji or Hanumanji or Shiva or Jesus or whoever you want to put on the altar, or whatever you're doing, ultimately you should be able to also look at the creation of God, which is yourself, the beautiful temple, this beautiful living temple, which Jesus says. And he also says, I live in the heart, which Krishna says the same thing. I live in heart of every being, not only human being, every being. I live in the heart. All the texts are full of that each one of these living bodies have the living presence of the Most High. Yes, and we are wanting to attune with that. And between this understanding that He's in here, And a deep attunement with that, what is kind of a barrier is our own mind. Our own mind, which has a thin layer of dust. We need to undust it, not dust it away, but undust it, unpure, however, clean it, undust it, adjust it, so that our highest self is easily reflected in that beautiful mirror. So yes, truly, we are bringing the spotlight on ourselves in this. And what I have attempted, or what I'll attempt in the course of the evening, is a way to dialogue inside, to have such a narrative by which we are able to connect in our own way to all the 5 elements. And each one must be able to do that. And it should be easy. It should be free of any mantra. It should be easy. It should, because it's anyone's realization that if they feel something solid, that is earth. If there is something fluid, liquid, sapid, is water. If something hot, burning, is fire. If something is there, up, is air. And all of this is contained in space. There is no sixth element. And it is directly experiential. So first what I'll do, I'll share this note and we'll quickly scroll over it because we already know it. It's just for our own revision we are doing it. I hope you are able to see it. Is it clearly visible? Yeah.
Yes, Pavanji.
Lower part, is the lower part of it cut off, or?
No, it's fine, Pavanji.
It's fine, then it is okay. Perfect. So here is this tuning into Tattva, the 5 elements. These are the shapes here, we already know. Earth is Prithvi Tattva, and it's at the root chakra, which is easy. Now Bhava. I have translated Bhava here as quality, but actually Bhava is a state of being, a state of emotional being, a state of feeling. That is what Bhava is, and the practice. So earth, quick one. From the earth, the Bhava is, the quality is of tolerance. Earth, the name in Sanskrit for earth is Sarva Saha, is also one of the names, who tolerates all, who takes all the impacts. So earth gives us the feeling of tolerance, the feeling of, one of the names, synonyms for earth in Sanskrit is Kshama, forgiveness. Forgiveness is directly a synonym for earth. Acceptance, stability, the earth under the foot. These qualities of earth. Now, to look at this and see in our own life what we are we missing? Are we missing on forgiveness, on seeking or giving? Or are we missing on acceptance? Are we sick? Are we missing on stability? The more we tune into that, the more and more we tune into the earth element. And then once we have done these lists, we can have more qualities of earth come up, subtler qualities of earth. And then we tune into that, and our tuning into the earth element will go deeper and deeper with that. As a practice, the whole practice of earth element will be body-centric, because this is earth, body-centric, physical body-centric. So yoga, we can't escape that. Yoga, some exercises, all the good things for the body. Good food, good sleep, keeping a good routine. If you are not doing them, we are missing out. Will certainly mess up our earth element. And I just, for the time being, also mentioned Mool Bandha. I know all of us are familiar. It's the root lock, and also the what we call the squeeze and release of the anal sphincter several times a day. will also attune us to the earth element, as well as the practice of stillness, just the practice of sitting still. I have this habit of moving my hands too much. This is not necessary. I don't need to do that. I can keep my hands like this. This is a practice for me to uh, ground and be more stable with the more being deeper attunement with the earth element. The more the hands are moving, it shows there is so much more the vayu, the air element operating. And that is my type. I have this vata is one of the types of my Ayurvedic. So it shows in how I express myself or speak. Earth element, then air is in Sanskrit vayu. It's the space of that is the heart chakra, heart. What is the quality of air? Giving, scattering, giving. How to reflect how much am I giving? How am I giving? Lightness, not heaviness, even in our thoughts or our emotion. Air is light, not heavy. Giving, reaching out is the same thing. Reaching out, air arrives to you. You don't need to go and grab it. It is always available. Being available, rather reaching out, I could also write here, being available for others. How much are we available for others? How much we reach out uh, and then ask, how are you feeling? And then help do whatever is necessary. And also, air has a quality of fragrance. That is not the quality of air element, it's the quality of earth element. But air, through its nature of scattering, allows the quality of fragrance to be felt. Without air, it will be difficult to get it. So fragrance, how fragrant is my presence, both outward as well as inward. The practice directly relates to breath. Pranayama, purity. In Sanskrit, the word for air is pavan. Pavan. The word pavan actually means one that purifies. Pavan. Same for that, purity. And air, the fundamental quality of air is movement, not stagnant. Movement is the quality of air. Thus, am I in movement? Am I moving? Or am I just sitting like a clod somewhere? So how much? So physically, am I moving every 1 hour? I've just shared a video in the chat, I think. Actually, Miran, you're not in the family chat. We'll pull you there. We keep posting all kinds of stuff there. You can have fun. So in that, one of the videos that I just posted talks about 102-year-old. Probably he's a British gentleman. And he talks about one of the things he says that makes us live long and live healthy is movement. He moves,
Movement.
he says, every 50 minutes he's moving. He has an alarm. Every 50 minutes he stands up and walks around. Then again he sits down. You cannot just do exercises 45 minutes in the morning and then sit on your backside watching. There you are. You're doing everything right. So movement, air. Fire, the upper triangle that goes up. Fire, Agni. Agni actually also means that which is going upward. Where is it located? In the body, in the navel chakra.
Never.
And what are its qualities? Equality. Everything that goes into the fire become ashes. So treating everything that comes equally, equality. Also purity and light. What will be the practice? Tapas. Tapas. Intense spiritual practice. Prolonged That intensity is both in terms of the practice that you choose, the number of repetitions. The fundamental quality of tapas is a practice which is outside your immediate comfort zone. So when you're building muscles, you are able to do 10 sets. When you start doing 12, you are stretching yourself. Those 2 extra sets will be counted as tapas. In fact, all the 12 will be counted as tapas. To be able to show up every day in the gym at the same time, do your 12 sets, 13 sets, even if it is very uncomfortable, or even if you have to sacrifice. Actually, fire, the other practice of fire is yajna, sacrifice. Something has to be sacrificed for something. We are, in our lives, we tend not to sacrifice. We want to have both. We don't want to sacrifice. More than that, yajna also means offering ourselves for the larger good,
Good.
for a social good, coming together to offer ourselves for a larger social good, sacrifice. Here from the fire is the teaching of the Buddha. He said, Apo Deepo Bhava, be a lamp unto yourself. Be a lamp unto yourself. To light up from within is a practice and tuning into the fire element. And then the downward triangle, the water element. In Sanskrit, jala, water. Location is at the Swadhisthana chakra, the pubis. And fundamental quality of water is rasa. Rasa means juiciness, the sapidity, the wetness is the quality of water, rasa. In Gita, Bhagavan says, Raso aham apsu Kaunteya, O Kaunteya, O Arjuna, I am the sapidity of water. I am the wateriness of water. I am the juiciness, I am the fluidity. That fluidity is a quality of water. Love, of course, compassion, and a state of flow. It's a subtle state, and each one of us are here intelligent or tuned enough to understand, am I in flow? We are able to answer that to us ourselves. Yes, or maybe, or somewhat. We have to achieve that state of flow, a state of rhythm, a state of flow, water. And when at the level of practice, mantra practice is water, because water relates to the mind. So the mind, mantra practice, also bathing. Sometimes we are not so particular, but when we are on this path, bathing at least once a day, or twice a day, or even thrice, will be very recommended. It cleanses us physically of the heavy static field that we end up building up on our skin. So bathing and water itself, a good relationship with water. It's a part of practice. How do we treat water? How do we speak to the water? What mantras? Because we know about Dr. Emoto's experiment, all of us. How do we drink? Do we gulp water like that, or we speak to water? It's a conscious entity. It holds memories, etc. And then finally, space. In Sanskrit, Akash, it is located at the throat chakra, denoted by the dot. I have put a downward triangle there because in the Sri chakra, that dot, that bindu, is contained in a downward triangle. But the space element is denoted only by the dot. The first quality of space is asanga, non-contact, being unattached is the simplest translation, but a more subtle or a deeper translation will be being sky-like. Being sky-like. In Buddhism, that is called Rigpa. So Rigpa is the sky-like mind that we have to cultivate, and Shengpa is the stickiness of the earth. So uh, uh, Mahayana Buddhism talks of Rigpa and Shengpa. Shengpa, earth-like cloudiness, stickiness. And from that, we have to cultivate a sky-like mind, a mind which is sky-like, asanga. In the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says, use asanga, this sky-like mind, as a weapon to cut all attachments from this tree of this big, huge, labyrinthine tree of Maya and liberate yourself. Asanga. So, asanga is a quality, a sky-like mind is a quality that we have to cultivate. There comes the witness quality of witnessing, observing, unstickiness, sky-like, peace. Sky is always in peace. Inclusive. Sky is embracing, inclusive. And I put a word there, non-hoarding. Sky doesn't hold anything. It doesn't hoard anything. Doesn't hold anything. Doesn't hoard anything. We have to go deep and look at what is our relationship with the things that we are adding. More and more clothes, more and more stuff. Or are we lighter on hoarding? We are all good to go here, but still, just to keep in mind that hoarding is not only about things, it is also about relationships, it is also about thoughts that stick together. So these will be the qualities of the sky. And on the practice side, meditation, dhyana. When you tune in to the sky-like status of the mind. When you're doing mantra, maybe it is not yet sky-like. You're still stuck with the mantra and turning it around and working with it, have a mala, and being conscious and struggling with the thoughts coming and going. But meditation is taking you, mantra itself takes you to a space in which you see all of this happening in that observer, sakshi bhava, the witnessing self, dhyana. A representative of sky element is the flower. So I wrote there is a flower. Silence will also be, because sky or space element literally means the space. So silence is a space. Between two words, silence. Between two breaths, space. Between two people, two objects. In fact, for you, Urveshbhai, also Nivaji, you will find it very interesting. This we used to do much earlier in practices. When you do Kali sadhana, in Kali sadhana, sorry, please forgive me for that. In Bhuvaneshwari sadhana, in the sadhana of space, we are trained to observe the space. So when you're sitting, when a person is sitting in front of you, the space between two people, the space between the person and the chair, back of the chair, and the head, and the space between that, to become aware of that space element, space element. You have to tune into that, to practice that. So space, watch the space between the two breaths, between two thoughts, between two blinks of the eyes. Always there is space between two. And that is why time and space are said to be connected together. The more and more we are tuned into space, we directly are tuned in with Kal, time. So space, which is known as Desh, and time, which is known as Kala, are tuned in together, deeply together. So in the whole process of manifestation, when we talk of manifesting something at that time, in that moment, in that space. You want that. At that time, this tuning in with the space element comes in as a support. So this is just a list of, it's just a note to be put together.
Pavan, could I just ask you a question?
Yes, I'm pausing.
Why is the flower there in the space? I don't
A,
understand.
a flower denotes the space element. In the denotion, when we do ritual worship, so a fruit
Oh, okay.
denotes the earth element,
Okay.
and an incense with the spiraling fumes like that denotes the wind element,
Yeah.
but it also denotes the earth element because it has fragrance.
Mhm.
The fire with the diya, with a lamp or a candle, you burn it, fire. Water, keep water in a tumbler and offer it. And the space element is denoted by flower,
Okay, thank you.
possibly because it is the lightest. It has least amount of earth in it. It's so light. It has least amount of earth to be manifested, but most of it is pure nothingness, if we were to say that. So it denotes the space element. So in our ritual practice, all these 5 elements should be offered to a physical element. We could, on our altar, we could have a Shri Yantra and offer our worship to that. We could have a murti, a statue of whichever form of divinity we like, or we could have just a piece of crystal, just there, as if, because that piece of crystal is nothing but a piece of earth, and that earth has everything in it. One thing that I wish to bring again into our memory is each one of these element is present in each. So earth element is 50% earth, and the rest of the 50%, 25, 25, 25, is the other elements in it. Other 4 elements or 20% will be other 4 elements in it. Same with air. Air will be predominantly air, but it will have the element of earth and water and fire and sky. Of course, is in space element. Without the space element, no element can come into existence. There cannot be an existence of earth without the space element. So space element is common, and rest of it, it is just said like that, 50% of that and 25% of each. So so that. So therefore, at the altar, if some people do not believe in any form of God, I highly recommend just a crystal, a beautiful crystal ball or a crystal elliptical crystal. It will look like a Shivalinga then, but doesn't matter. Or it could be even a crude shaped crystal, or just a piece of rock from your garden. Clean it nicely, nicely clean it, put some oil on it so it looks nice and good, and keep it in a tray like that. Good enough. That represents all the elements, and it represents the creation itself. It has all the magic of earth. It has all the properties of divinity sitting inside there. It is, yes, it is unconsciously conscious. It has its own consciousness. Consciousness is congealed as earth, water, air, and in different ways. That's why in India we worship flowing rivers and we worship confluences, because they are different divinities congealed as that. So I pause here. Over to you for your comments.
No comment. Thank you, Pavanji. So beautiful. You've covered so much. I'll have to read the one that Urvesh Pai sent last time, I actually had made comments on it and I forgot to post it because I got a bit busy, but I'll have a look at it today because I'm at home today and I'll add some other things. But I see all of this as, because I see everything as Devi, just I
Yes.
am Prakriti and I am Purush and Prakriti and I've created everything and I'm all of it, yet none of it. I'm knowledge and not knowledge. I'm, like everything is her.
Yes. So what I realized was, in the negation, uh, we will arrive at negation in step
Mm,
2. Negation
okay,
will happen after we totally tune in, and then we go through into the negation. So this is
beautiful.
Mool Prakriti, this is nature, this is Mother Nature, and this is
Mm,
almost in these qualities, we'll be able to touch her, or by cultivating these qualities, will almost allow her to.
embody us.
Yeah, yes, sure. That's the right word.
Yes. And
Exactly.
that's actually the Prem Bhav.
Prem
When
Bhav.
you're allowing the earth element within you and the
Yes,
water, fire, all of these things
yeah,
to be fully embodied within the self.
yes,
And in answer to Maron's other, not question, but what she stated, somebody asked Ramana Maharishi, how do you treat others? And he said, there are no others.
yes,
So everything you give, because I follow mainly I only follow the Kola mark. So my daily practice is to myself as the Mahameru.
yes,
Everything is on the embodiment of this.
yes,
So and so whatever I'm offering to Devi in my altar is also offering to myself, be
yes,
it all the elements, the Panchamahabhutas and everything. So because you cannot serve others from an empty vessel.
yes,
Just like the aeroplane thing, we all know we have to take the oxygen mask ourselves in order to help the rest of our family traveling with us.
yes,
And it always keeps coming back. Like Pavanji said, hold that mirror up. But there is nothing else apart from us seeing the world out there until it comes to a point where there is no mirror. Because
yes,
even the observation of the mirror or being a witness, we're still talking about an I-ness and a separation. When
yes,
that mirror is not left anymore, which
yes,
is one of the other meditations I do, the Ma Bhuvaneshwari meditation in front of a mirror, looking into my eyes, and I actually then disappear.
yeah,
There is nothing, something happens after I don't know how long, but the image that's reflected in the mirror disappears. There's nothing but space.
yeah.
And then in that nothingness is everything. So
Yes,
that's
I mean, in that reference, what I have shared here is very, very basic. It is just a small
but
chit
it's
of
beautiful.
reminder.
It's beautiful.
It's very
It's what
basic.
needed.
Um, and get to you get to a space when you sit down in meditation and whatever happens happens. At the same time, if you were to follow a sequence, which I will again share, today we have already crossed our time. Maybe next time we'll straight away get into meditation and we'll only meditate. I'll share how I would invoke these 5 elements, and then immediately after that, let's do this homework between us. So I'll share mine, or I'll share mine at the end. Let's each
Mhm.
one of us, let us all hear from each other. How would we invoke them? How would we, through this week, let us invoke them, or dialogue, or say, tune in love with these elements, and then I'll share mine, and we will put together a good practice for all of us to uh, imbibe and practice, because this is fundamental. Once we get safe and good with this, and these qualities that are sitting in here, just in this small piece of paper, once we are okay with this, without flowing too wide into bigger philosophies or other, like, it's so easy for all of us to just take off. If you fix this, we will give ground to our practice. We'll give a good base to our journey, if we need, if or if we want to revisit where we stand, then these qualities are such that we cannot escape these qualities. And some of them we are already practicing. Maybe we need to tune in more and fix it. We are already, most of us are doing all of these any which ways. But to practice asanga and go deep into that sky-like mind, witnessing mind, tune into that, whatever works with us, whatever. And especially for Miran, also Priya has left, I think. But for you, Miran, you might find it interesting to create a small ritual for your own self on a daily basis. Just a small flower vase, a small piece of rock representing the beautiful creation. And
yeah, Pavan, behind me is on that wall is my altar, and
there
on
you are.
it is the rock that when I was with you in Rishikesh, that rock that I collected from Bombay. I have that. I have the sand that I took from Mother Ganji. That is on there. And that has been, I can't tell you how many times I've moved, and
Yes.
those two things are so sacred to me.
Yes.
So, yeah.
How beautiful.
It is so beautiful.
There you are.
So, thank you.
Fantastic.
And can I say to all of you, and it's been so lovely to meet you both, and thank you just for your love and for just being so, yeah, just kind and thoughtful, and I'm so happy to be on this journey with you both.
Fantastic. We are just holding hands together,
I know
all
we
of
are.
us. Okay, great. And you can always reach out locally to Nivaji or Uresh Bhai. Sometimes just something comes up to your
Yeah,
mind, you want to chat. Nivaji is great with her um, therapeutic artwork, drawing mandalas. Beautiful. You have to connect with her, and she will share with you all her beautiful things. And you could even learn from her that.
Oh,
And Urvesh Bhai is very, very special on practices. So
that's
both ways
much
you
needed.
can connect, and we are all here together.
Thank you so much.
How amazing. Love you. Let's have a great evening together. Okay, Urvesh Bhai.